Welcome back, good folk. I'm Dave,
I'm Parker.
and this is DP Reviews, where you get double the analysis.
Twice the penetrating opinions.
And yeah, I messed that up.
Nah, it's honestly, I think that's getting old. I think this is where we reach our character development. It should just be DP Reviews.
Okay. So we're just gonna jump right into it. So following back from last week, we are now on the A-rank mission that Kazami and Rino have been assigned to. We've yet to see any sign of Akifuyu Abe. We're just gonna call him Abe for short now. And Kazami, he's making small talk as far as Rino, and I can't do this, bro. I can't.
Is it because we didn't do the intro?
Yeah. We're going to jump right into the video amidst all of that tomfoolery. So we're picking back up off last week's chapter, where we're finally on the A-rank hunting mission with Rino and Kazami. However, we haven't seen any sign of Abe. Now, the premise here that we have small talk dialogue with Rino questioning Kazami about Paira, which she refers to as his niece. And Kazami then explains that, she's at home. And on this flashback panel, we are then jumping into this feast, this spread of food, this glorious Valhalla-style dinner that Kazami has prepared for Paira. And it's under the notion that as long as she's eating, she's going to stay home. And then the next page, we're then introduced to Paira sitting in the tree, spying on, that's a lot of food that she's balancing. But, she's spying on Kazami and Rino, and she thinks, okay, I'm just going to wait until the absolute last moment to save him, because then he'll have even more affection for me. She's really, really gross. It's really gross. We see her as what is it? Is it Sundare? No? Yandere? No, Reno's the Yandere.
Yeah, Rino crazy.
Reno's really crazy. Yeah. So we jump back into it. Reno's grabbing Kazami's hand, and you can clearly see Paira getting completely infuriated. And Rino says, "Look, you're different lately, and every time I try and talk about it, you brush me off." So then she goes into this whole research spiel about how the 25 S rank or above are former yokai hunters that have used the yokai spell. And then she does a bit of self-gratification, saying that she's so great for doing all of this research. And then she talks about the origin of the yokai and how exactly they've been able to cross over into the human world. And that's from the very first use of the yokai spell. And then Rino goes into this episode of self-gratification where she just praises herself for doing all of the research on the yokai, the 25S plus. We're going to call them the 25S plus. So she says one of the theories for how the Exorcist Federation got founded was when, 1,000 years ago, an exorcist used the yokai spell for the first time, which opened up the gateway for yokai to be able to cross into the human world. And then she explains that the top 4 members are the Exorcist Kings, and they're responsible for leading the yokai excess, and they're responsible for leading the yokai Exorcist Federation into battle. They say that anyone who uses a spell, brings that misfortune, but we've been, told earlier that the more you use the spell, the more you become a yokai yourself. So then Rino asks, why are you trying to use the spell?
And it's actually crazy because as soon as Rino asks that question, we finally get a flashback to my homie from chapter 1, Kawanoshin the Kappa, no cap.
Shut up.
And in the midst of Kazami kind of reminiscing, or not really reminiscing, but having this moment thinking about his old friend, Rino interrupts going, "You just want to meet girls," or something lame like that, right? And just kind of scoffs. And she's like, I guess I'm not sad for you anymore. And it's a crazy shift for her to go 0 to 100 like that.
Real quick.
But, yeah, real quick. It's a crazy transition you see from her, honestly. But luckily we have Paira feeling the feelings that I'm having towards Rino. and just going, I need to get over there. I'm gonna get her eventually. Thankfully, Kazumi is kind of wondering, hey, wasn't there a third person on this list? To which Rino responds, nah, it's just us two. And Kazumi replies, nah, I remember another name. I think his name was what? Akifuyu Abe? And you know how people do the neck twist when they go, what? That's what Rino does towards Kazumi. And she goes, Abe. And right behind Rino, in the shadow of the trees and the bushes, we get this Spiral King from Gurren Lagann. Or is it the Drill King? Well, it's definitely a yokai, but how do you explain this thing? It's got spirals for eyes, spirals all along its body, like drill tips just all around its fingertips, everywhere, man. It's gross. Kazumi instantly pushes Rino out of the way, and as he's doing it, he activates a bubble wrap talisman that kind of protects them from whatever this thing is that's coming after them. So with the next page, we see that it's not just one of these spiral yokai, it's a whole squad of them. Gang on deck.
Gang, 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 gang.
Yes, thank you. So both Kazumi and Rino realize that they're in trouble, and as soon as they come to the realization, they're bubble pops. So they obviously hightail it out of there. And Paira notices this, so she gets up as if she's ready to chase them. But she's actually grabbed by none other than
Akifuyu Abe, or at least that's what we think he is. Akifuyu Abe. Big burly dude, spiky hair, creepy sunglasses, consistent smile, huge predator vibes here. So he introduces himself and remarks to Paira that it's been a while. So we're now reminded when Paira hesitated when she heard that name before, we can now see why she would hesitate. Any dude this big isn't messing around. He clearly has some sort of sinister, sick goal. So we're cutting back to Kazumi and Rino. And when they realize that they're not being chased, they're trying to understand, what's going on. Who's giving the orders? And then Kazumi tells Rino, be quiet. Do you hear something? So the Oni, the A-ring yokai that were following them, they then burst out of the ground and surround them from all sides. Oh, this looks gross, bro. So they now all have Rino surrounded. And if you've ever seen the meme of the multiple soda cans surrounding the one different brand can, that's exactly what this is. So now it's shown that Rino and Kazumi both have injuries. And Kazumi gets a thought. He starts thinking. And he starts thinking, why did you become an exorcist? That was Rino's question to him. And now we have Paira flying out of nowhere with no grace, clearly overwhelmed by whatever she was thrown by. Clearly overwhelmed by whatever threat she was thrown by. And we're going to assume that's Abe. So
as Paira lands, Kazumi goes, hey, perfect timing. I actually need to use your powers. To which Paira responds, absolutely not. If you use my powers right now, you'll be killed. So this becomes a back and forth between Kazumi and Paira. Who cares? You don't understand. It doesn't matter if I can't even protect a girl. Shout out to chapter 1 when Kazumi mentioned this with the fish kai, rest in peace.
Fish kai, rest in peace.
So we don't get no money shot this time. But we do get the aftermath, to which Kazumi comes in, spear in hand ready, hair flowing, damaged up, ready to protect someone. And that's why he's an exorcist. Not because he wants to get with Ooh, no. Not because he wants to get with popular girls. And the last thing we see is Abe giggling in the trees because he's excited. He goes, I see you finally used the yokai spell. Well, execution it is. Now, this chapter, I will have to say, was a huge information dump, at least compared to the previous chapters we've gotten. I know the first chapter was 30, 40 something pages, but that's just to get you into the series. Personally, I would say the next 2 to 3 chapters that we got were just kind of to get us to understand more of the antics between Kazumi and Paira and the world outside of these 2 characters. Well, these 3 characters, because as we can see, Rino's definitely not just a side character.
Or a side chick.
or a side chick. The first huge bit of information we get this chapter is that there are 25 S-ranked yokai known as yokai rulers, and they all came to be using the yokai spell. Now, we don't know how much time went into them using the spell. We don't know exactly what all took place. So we know that they're at least S+. And Kazami's been using Paira's bones. And she's what, a triple S+?
Yeah.
So I really hope that we get to see a ladder get climbed here with Kazami taking out these 25 yokai rulers. And maybe even developing a change of heart in the whole exorcism thing when he meets other people that have used the yokai spell. The second thing we get is that little bit of history stating that 1,000 years ago there was an exorcist that used the yokai spell for the first time, which kind of made a call for yokai all over. This guy was probably like the catalyst that brought yokai into kind of breaking that rift into Earth.
He opened the spirit hole of Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yeah. To which we get the establishment of the Exorcist Federation. I guess you could say that this has been going on for about 1,000 years, but we don't know much about the meritocracy, but we do know that the 4 top members of the Exorcist Federation are called the 4 Exorcist Kings. I think it's safe to say that Abe is definitely one of the members based off of the silhouette we're given of them. Personally, I'm interested in this exorcist that is the second from the right with the curly hair. They look a little whimsical.
Who's the guy from Tokyo Ghoul with the one who stitched himself?
Oh man,
it was a Juzo.
Juzo.
Yeah, Juzo.
Yo.
He reminds me of Juzo. Yeah,
I could definitely see that.
Yeah, it reminds me of Juzo from Tokyo Ghoul.
Shout out to Juzo.
Yeah. Juzo was sick, but that's not Bone Collection. But Tokyo Ghoul, great read. But we also have more insight this chapter into how Rino feels about Kazami, to which we thought it was just romantic or, a really concerned childhood friend. We feel like it's more so Kazami needs to be weak in order for Rino to feel a little bit better about her exorcist abilities. And with Kazami now developing, she may feel a bit threatened as far as her comparison on the ladder, with him. But we don't necessarily know if the romantic feelings are completely there or the envy is completely there. We don't know. We just do know that Rino is an excellent hard worker. Paira is extremely jealous, even though she refuses to show it, as she's always proud. And, for us here at DP Reviews, we can't wait to see how it develops. Previously, when we first did this manga review, we said that Bone Collection was going to be Big 3. And I would personally, myself, I don't know about Parker, I would like to retract that statement. I do not think this manga is going to be Big 3 for Shonen Jump. However, when it does develop, further along the path as a manga and finally gets an anime, it's probably going to be number 1 comedy in its category. So, that's just where we stand on that one. I don't have anything else. You got anything else?
That's where you stand. You just said I don't speak for Parker, so I'll give my opinion. All jokes aside, though, yeah, Dave pretty much covered it. We kind of got in over our heads. It's kind of hard to just assume something is going to be one of the greatest when you only have 4 chapters to go off of. But I am entertained, I can say that. I'm still reading it.
We're still reading it, we're going to continue to cover this as long as we possibly can. And at the end of the day, it's still a pretty well-written manga. As silly as it is, it does still have cuts of action, and it does show deeper character depth. So this is something that I'm not going to let go of for a bit.
And it's funny. It's funny. Getting walked in on again.
For all of my readers who have ever been walked in on, I am so sorry.
It's not a good feeling.
I want you guys to be on the lookout. We are thinking about doing other chapter reviews. And if not chapter reviews, And if not chapter reviews, then we're thinking about doing opinion videos for other works of not only Shonen Jump manga, but overall manga and manhwa. And for all of my webtoon readers, if there's something that you want us to review, let us know in the comment section. Shoot us an email, add us on Instagram, hit us up on Twitter at Dave Not Parker
and Parker Not Dave, or our Instagram at DP Reviews Official.
We more than happy to have wonderful dialogue with you, and even if you feel like it, host you here on the review. The more the merrier.
And with all that, I think this might actually be one of our shorter episodes. So props to us on being more time efficient.
You know we got to finish in a timely manner.
Yes, we did. But that's about it. I'm Parker.
And I'm Dave.
And this has been DP Reviews.
Peace.
Get out of here, you crazy kids.